Hey everyone, welcome back to Digital Week Online, the highest energy show on the internets right now. This is Gordon Einstein again, and we're still on our first day of Digital Week Online. And of course, this is International Women's Day. And in keeping with our one-day tradition of having the most amazing woman in technology present to us, we have Medha Parlikar, CTO of Casper Labs. I know her personally. She's a fantastic lady. She's very smart. I've learned a lot from her. I've had the opportunity to work with her in connection with the Developers DAO, which is a different topic, but she's philanthropically oriented. She's got a governance mind. She's actually been on my show. I'll plug my show for a second here. But you know what? It's not about me. It's about her. So this is going to be a fantastic keynote. Medha, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And I'm thrilled to have you. So I'm going to hand it to you, and then I'm going to mute myself. So go for it.
Thank you so much, Gordon, for having me here. I'm really excited to be here, especially today on International Women's Day. So without any further ado, I will go ahead and kick it off. So I am Medha Parlikar. I'm one of the co-founders and the CTO of Casper Labs, the company that's building the Casper blockchain. And I'm really excited to be here at Digital Week Online and on International Women's Day. A big welcome to all the women in the audience today here to learn a bit more about blockchain technology. So today I'll talk about Casper and what makes it different from other protocols in the layer one space. And with that, let's just dive right in. So blockchain has the promise to create liquid markets with previously uncommercialized or under-commercialized assets. And we'll just do in this presentation some Casper fast facts for you. Enterprises and entrepreneurs need control over their applications, and the traditional immutable contract infrastructure simply won't cut it for what they need. And so Casper is a blockchain that's purpose-built for enterprises in need of highly secure, scalable infrastructure that gives them the flexibility and control that they need for their business. We offer a permissionless, pure proof-of-stake protocol, and it's purpose-built for enterprises. So this is a really important distinction between what Casper Labs has built and a lot of the layer ones you may be familiar with in the market today. So let's kind of dive into more technical details. So, the modern challenges that enterprises are facing as they start exploring blockchain is this notion of the trilemma. And a core component of blockchain technology is its consensus protocol. And we're all familiar with the proof of work consensus protocol that fuels Ethereum and Bitcoin today. And, this blockchain trilemma is the limitation of consensus protocols. And many of you may have heard this, the quality conundrum, right? That quality triangle. You can get something good, you can get it cheap, or you can get it fast, but you can't get it all three. You can get two of the three. And this trilemma is very similar, right? You can get decentralization, security, or scalability, and traditionally you couldn't get all three. The highway consensus protocol that's in the Casper protocol makes delivering all three of these possible. So how do we do that? Well, decentralization is really important. Validators are selected at the start of every epoch by the protocol with an on-chain contract known as the auction contract. Security. 2/3 of all stake must attest to each block in order to finalize blocks and transactions. So we don't use, statistical or probabilistic security, sacrificing the security in order to get speed. And then it's more efficient than proof of work because it's proof of stake, right? So it's more, you're not doing the work that's just throwaway. Everything, all the CPU in the system is being used to actually process transactions or participate in consensus. And I mentioned a little bit about, statistical or probabilistic security. That's the way a lot of consensus protocols get their speed, is they don't actually get messages from every single node in the network. And that's really what you want full participation of all the nodes in the network. That's really where you get the security, right? So let's say, for example, if there's $10 million of stake in the network, you have $7 million of stake voting on every single block within the Casper protocol. This is where you don't sacrifice the security for the scalability. So you see a lot of protocols in the trilemma. They give you the decentralization and they give you the scalability, but then they use probabilistic or statistical security. So then your security, guarantees go down. That's the way a lot of protocols are horse trading, right? Or you get great security and great decentralization, but no scalability, as you see in Bitcoin and in Ethereum today. So we're very excited about this because blockchain unlocks the potential to commercialize new and existing assets in a new and interesting way, right? And we know that enterprises have moved from discovery phase into actual implementation. And we've observed this through the significant investment in private and permission protocols. And we really wanted to understand why private and permission protocols. And when we dug in, we came to learn that there were a few reasons why. Many of these blockchains use proprietary programming languages, and it makes it hard to acquire and retain talent for this inside the business. And this is an increase in what we call business continuity risk. And whenever you have a new programming language, you don't really have a solid developer ecosystem around that programming language, right? Pricing for the public blockchain infrastructure is really unpredictable, and businesses really need predictability around their infrastructure costs, right? And you can look at the gas fees on Ethereum today, and we recognize that this is not viable. And this poses a great deal of financial risk for businesses, right? Prompting them to try to take control of their infrastructure costs. Immutable contracts and protocol forks make it impossible to control on-chain logic, right? And this is more business risk, right? If you have a bug in your smart contract and you are using that in application, you've got customers calling you on the phone, it's not really sustainable to say, well, I'm sorry, we can't make an upgrade here. We have to, stick with the protocol version we have. Or what's worse is the blockchain goes through some kind of governance crisis or a governance challenge and there's a hard fork. And now, because the contract's immutable, I have two versions of my code out there and I have no control over what my customers are potentially using. Businesses just simply cannot absorb that kind of, risk in their applications. And furthermore, blockchain is just hard to use, right? There's a lot of missing features at layer one, like account recovery and account management. Being able to have something simple like when I call support, they can check into my account and see what's going on with my application. These things just are not feasible in blockchain today, right? And if you do it on layer two, now it's not on the chain anymore. And so you kind of want to know if somebody's accessing your account or if you've granted access somebody to your account. You really do want those kinds of access controls to be at layer one. And so our team understands what businesses and software developers in the enterprise need, right? So we just went ahead and we built it. And we built it directly into the Casper protocol, into our custom virtual machine. And so now, we're getting to this place with the tipping point where a lot of corporations have done their pilots or they understand what they want to do with blockchain and they're looking for a protocol where they want to land on, right? And so we're happy to be jumping onto the scheme with a beautiful decentralized proof of stake blockchain network that introduces a smart contract model that is both immutable and upgradable. And it provides all the features on chain that enables smart contract authors to govern their smart contracts, right? And it doesn't matter if it's an enterprise or a DeFi protocol we're talking about here. All of these requirements are the same, right? You have to be able to test your smart contracts. You have to be able to upgrade them. You need some guarantees around who's managing your on-chain code, and you need to be able to govern this transparently using the blockchain infrastructure. And these are things that are all possible using Casper smart contracts directly on the Casper protocol. And enterprises can build their kinds of implementations if they have specific business requirements around privacy and even a higher level of security by building private, permissioned, and hybrid deployments working closely with our team. Which is where you come to Casper Labs, right? So Casper Labs is a professional services company that has built the Casper protocol for the Casper Association. And now we're going to be providing professional services and white glove support to enterprises to help them go to market using blockchain technology. We will create custom deployments to suit their specific enterprise needs. And we're going to provide predictable pricing to help power these business applications. And The beautiful thing about the virtual machine on Casper is that it leverages popular languages and open source principles, right? So you can build your smart contracts using either assembly script or Rust today. We have plans to introduce many more languages as compilation targets for WebAssembly become available. And the smart contract build, deploy, test infrastructure integrates directly into enterprise code delivery pipelines, making it really, really easy for enterprises to accelerate their delivery of blockchain-related solutions using the Casper protocol. So let's talk a little bit about some of these pilots that we have underway. We have some very interesting pilots. I'll dig in deeply into our IP management pilot that's currently underway, but we also have strategic opportunities with a supply chain logistics company. We're looking at commodities, managing those using blockchain core infrastructure, a great document management solution, right? So you have provenance over documents using blockchain technology. Employee benefits. You wouldn't think that employee benefits is a great blockchain solution, but there's some very interesting ephemeral properties around employee performance management that you can use blockchain technology for to manage employee performance and provide employee some really interesting benefits, for lack of a better term, using a tokenizing model. Of course, payments infrastructure and digital financial instruments we're well familiar with already in the blockchain space. There's a lot of examples of this, even if you just look to Ethereum and Algorand and some of the other layer ones in the space. And our focus is really on real world use cases where existing applications are enhanced by adding blockchain as a trust layer. So let's dig into the IP management use case. We're very proud to be partnering with IPWE, which is the leader in developing a patent, what we call patent marketplace, where buyers and sellers of patents can interact with each other and trade patent infrastructure. So the solution, we're partnering with them to build a blockchain-based aggregation solution to bring the world's patents together in a global patent registry. So information recorded in this process would include data points such as the patent owner, patent coverage, and right now the provenance of patents is a real business problem. About 5 to 10% of all patents that are sold today are sold by an entity that actually doesn't own the patent because people just don't know who owns a patent, who has rights to a given patent. And over time, we expect that this global patent registry will also include other public material information around the patents, such as legal findings pertaining to the patent and other public data around the provenance and ownership of this patent, really building an important repository of public information pertaining to global patent data. IPWE also plans to hold a security token offering, and they'll be able to tokenize this patent and eventually offer new opportunities to an wide array of investors. And upon a release of their white paper, interested investors will be able to learn the finer details of their tokens and how they will function within their system. We're pioneering enterprise adoption across the board, right? With IPWE and Broadleaf, who's building an employee performance solution. We're also working with many leading Web2 tech companies. Look for some exciting announcements as we partner more closely with these. And of course, we have fantastic relationships in crypto. We are, of course, building a crypto product, the Casper public blockchain. And we have some innovative asset managers. We have a firm foot in the traditional asset space. So look for some really interesting announcements coming from us in all of these different areas. So real quick, as I wrap up, I can talk about the Casper token sale. The Casper Community Token Sale will be held by the Casper Association, and it opens on March 23, 2021. This sale will be hosted exclusively on CoinList, and the CSPR, the Casper token, is what powers the Casper proof of stake model. And participants can purchase CSPR tokens using 3 different options, which I've displayed here on my screen. Options 2 and 3 may be increased by 1% each based on the anticipated demand. And you'll hear about this decision no later than March 31st, 2021 on our Telegram channel. And option 1 shall be a guaranteed allocation. while 4% of CSPR token supply is expected, this allocation will be increased to fulfill demand. Casper, the Casper Association is very, very keen on ensuring that community participants have an opportunity to participate in the token sale. And this is why the option 1 tier is a sliding allocation, in that we will increase the amount of token available in order to meet the demand. Please note that residents of the United States, Canada, and China, as well as coinless unsupported jurisdictions, are not eligible to participate in the sale. We're very sorry, but we do need to comply with the regulatory guidance that we have in place today. And with that, I want to thank everyone for tuning in and giving me some of your very precious time and attention. Please do join us on Telegram. We're also available on Discord, and you can follow us on Twitter. I'm Medha Parlikar, the CTO of Casper Labs, and I look forward to seeing all of you in our various social channels. So happy International Women's Day to all of you, and thank you very much.
Medha, that was amazing, and I'm actually going to hijack a couple minutes of your time here, which is, in my other life, I have a cloud solution that provides remote desktop for law firms. I've been working with document management systems for over 10 years. And that's probably something you didn't know about me. We work with the WorldBox document management system. And when you said document management systems, my ears perked up, because I didn't know that about Casper. So can you, that opens a whole nother door. Can you talk a minute about what's in store, or is it premature?
It's premature still, but there's a lot of really interesting things you can do around content management in general, right? Just a plethora of opportunity. You'll hear a lot about content management around royalties, right? We've heard a lot about that, and of course provenance, right? The authenticity of a given piece of digital content, right, through NFTs. But we like to think a lot about the blockchain as a trust layer, right? So there's a lot around document management, around provenance, around authorization, right? And governance around these documents, and access control rights. These are some of the really interesting things that you can do with Casper as well, right? In addition to all of the royalties-based management around documents, like you can treat a document like any other piece of content, for example. So if I use a specific legal document and it's wrapped up in a smart contract, maybe the person that created that legal contract or legal document will have the benefit of receiving some royalties for it, right? You can model even the existing, digital content scenario through that method. But then you can do some really interesting things by, digital signatures, and more strongly tying those digital signatures to cryptographic evidence in terms of who signed a given contract and when they did, and putting that on the blockchain and making it really immutable. And actually then providing access tokens, because right now a lot of these document management tools, they're stored in a central cloud repository, right? And that could be corrupted. It's centralized, whether you like it or not. And so you can also have an opportunity here to decentralize this and grant authorization tokens for people to observe maybe portions of your contract, right? So we have an example we're using with IPweave with homographic encryption, where only portions of a data structure are encrypted versus the entire data structure, right? And you can give a token to someone, meaning an access token, to grant them full access to the data structure if you so choose, right? So you can have multi-party encryption here. So there's some really interesting use cases that will emerge over time with CMS systems more broadly.
It's interesting. You just the way you described it makes me think of the parallel between document management and data rooms, like deal rooms.
Yeah.
And the way you're describing it makes me see a commonality between those two use cases that I didn't necessarily pick up on before.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
I mean, the right to access, the right to edit, the right to copy, the right to print, which external organizations can have access to your data and for what purposes, and tracking what access that you actually use. I mean,
and then you actually know who has access to your data, right? Like right now you have documents flying over email, and there isn't any way to revoke that access by way of example, right? So, businesses change, right? So businesses are bought and sold, and when they're sold, their contracts, go from one entity to the other. Even mortgage documents is a great example, right? Your mortgages get sold from one, company to another, and you want to be able to manage those accesses. So we see access control lists as a permissioning management as a fluid thing, right? It's not static. It's not one and done by any means. It's exactly
Wow,
right.
fascinating. All right, I kind of hijacked the end there, but I know you obviously, and it's an interesting topic, and I'm a big fan of Casper and what you guys are doing. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate your time. Happy International Women's Day. And
thank you so much. Thank you.
and
Same
talk
to
to
all
you
the women
soon.
out there. Cheers.
Yes, definitely. Thanks, Medha. Talk to you. Bye.